Hello everyone and welcome to Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate that. Only two favors as we get started. One, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And two, whenever you're shopping for parts and gear, please use my affiliate links, and there'll be a link right up here where you can bookmark them. I really appreciate that. All right, this is the new 2026 Honda CRF300F, and I'm out here at a private ranch near Alpine in Southern California, and today we're going to ride the new CRF300F and also ride back-to-back with the outgoing CRF250F so we can feel the improvements that Honda has made. So stay tuned because I've got a pretty cool video in store for you today. We can trace the history of Honda's trail bikes all the way back into the 1980s, and actually probably before that, but you might be familiar with the Honda XRs that were really predominant through the 1980s and 1990s. We had bikes like the XR200R going all the way back to 1981. That brings us forward to 2003 when Honda introduced the CRF230F. We saw the switch to the CRF nomenclature from the old XR name. We saw the addition of electric start as well and disc brakes. Then fast forward to 2019, we saw the introduction of the CRF250F. That bike brought us a 4-valve engine with fuel injection, upgraded suspension, and a new frame. And then that leads us all the way to 2026 with this bike, the brand new Honda CRF300F, with its larger engine, 6-speed transmission, stiffer suspension, and updated bodywork. So with the CRF300F, we see the engine punched out to 294cc versus the old 250cc of the outgoing bike. Compression ratio remains about the same. It's actually dropped a little bit, so you can still use regular 87 octane fuel. The big update to the CRF300 really is the 6-speed transmission, which gives you more gear ratios versus the outgoing 5-speed. Suspension travel is also up a little bit on the front fork. We're now up to 9.5 inches or 240 millimeters of travel. The 250 had 8.5 inches or 216 millimeters of travel. Rear suspension is the same at 9 inches or 230 millimeters of travel. The brakes are 240 millimeter in the front, 220 millimeter in the back. Seat height remains about the same at 35 inches or 890 millimeters, which is about the same as the old bike. Ground clearance is also remaining about the same at 11.4 inches or 290 millimeters. Fuel capacity also remains the same, 1.6 gallons or 6.1 liters. Curb weight of this bike is 273 pounds. That's full of gas and fluids, or 124 kilograms. That is a gain of about 8 pounds or 3 or 4 kilograms of the outgoing CRF 250F. With this bike's low-emission 4-stroke engine, technologies like a spark arrestor and a very quiet exhaust, the CRF300 is a green sticker legal bike here in California, meaning you can ride it in OHV or off-highway vehicle areas year-round, and you are not restricted to certain riding seasons as you would be with many off-road motorcycles that have the red sticker. All right, let's do a lap of this 3.5-mile course on the CRF300F and just kind of talk you through how this bike works. So the whole thing with the CRF300, you know, it's not a motocross bike, it's not a race bike, it's not high performance, right? It's designed to be just accessible, easy to ride, low maintenance, right? It's air cooled. It's air cooled, which means that, you know, just less stuff to break. If you drop the bike there, you don't have to worry about, you know, breaking a radiator. Watch those rocks there. The motor on this bike, you know, it's not super fast, right? Like, the power is very modest, but what I'll tell you about the power is it's just very gentle. You don't have to worry about doing a whiskey throttle or getting out of control. going through the slow speed, kind of through the avocado grove here, the fueling is really good. So it's fuel injected, but it's very smooth, you know, throttle fueling. Whoa, somebody dug a pretty good rut through here. But at low speeds, the gearing's nice and low for lower speed stuff. Throttle response is really easy. The bike handle is just easy and gentle, right? It's not super like nervous or super flickable, but it does what you want to do, but it's like a nice, easy handling bike, you know what I mean? Whoa. So there's wide open acceleration there to show you that. Let's talk about the suspension on this bike. I'm surprised how decent it is. Taking it off, I've been taking it off short, small jumps and things. I'm not even coming close to bottoming it. I weigh 200 pounds or 90 kilograms, and it's really good for me. It's a nice compliant suspension, doesn't beat you up, but you can take it off, smaller jumps, have some fun with it. It doesn't, you know, it feels like the bike has good control. I think if I had this bike, I would not need to spend any money on suspension or anything like that. You can actually get some good speed built up on this bike, and the 6-speed transmission is great. That's a great thing to have. Just gives you more gear ratios, better choice of gear ratios. Really enjoy that. So I'll give you a short little tour of the bike, okay, as we stop here. You've got a start switch over here, you've got a kill switch over here, you've got a key, and you've got a low fuel light. That's it, right? It's pretty basic. I'm used to reviewing adventure bikes with all sorts of gizmos and gadgets, but this bike doesn't have a whole lot of that. My overall feeling of the bike is, you know, some people have criticized this for being, oh, it's really heavy. Well, yeah, but it's not a competition bike, right? It's an air-cooled trail bike. I don't feel that it's heavy for the stuff I'm doing. I'm not an expert enduro rider, but that's not the target audience for this bike. I think it's just fine. I like the way it sounds. The muffler has a little bit of a sound to it, but it's not too loud, which is great. You don't disturb all the neighbors, so I really appreciate that. The brakes feel good. We've got some good tires on here. I think these are Pirellis. Yeah, these are Scorpions. They feel really good. I don't know if these are the stock tires, but I'll put that in the text below. Not much really to show you on the tour. You've got a conventional fork, so not an upside down fork, so that's a cost saving thing, but it's perfectly fine for what this bike is intended to do. You know, real basic, just simple dirt bike. Fuel tank unscrews there real easy. It's just a classic Honda trail bike. I remember when I was a kid, one of my earlier bikes I had was the XR250R. This sort of reminds me of that a little bit. This was gentler, a little bit lower, a little bit easier to ride. I guess what I'm really impressed with so far is really the suspension. It's actually quite good on this thing. It's better than I was expecting, you know, for kind of a budget Honda. While nobody's looking, we should do a little drop and lift test, huh? I mean, it's like a toy compared to what I'm used to. It's so easy to do. It's just lightweight. There's not much to break. No radiator. There is an oil cooler here. You would have to kind of make sure you don't damage that, but really this thing is easy to lift. No problem. So even tractoring along, if you take kind of too high of a gear, the motor tractors really well. For a smaller motor, you can be in too high of a gear, the wrong gear, and you're still fine. Yeah, the suspension is on the softer side of things for sure, but I think it's appropriate for what this bike is intended to do. And it just makes it non-tiring to ride. It's not tiring to ride this bike, right? Whoa! Oh. Yeah, it seems like one time every lap I hit my boot or my brake lever or my shift lever on a rock. I'm really good at hitting rocks. Maybe that's why it's called Big Rock Moto. Yeah, so on a steep hill like that, you need to make sure you get in a low enough gear because it's not very powerful. So like on that hill, I think I was in 3rd or 4th gear, and I started to bog a little bit just due to horsepower. But you just have to downshift and keep the bike in the appropriate gear. Maybe standing up I could, you know, use a little bit taller handlebar or something, but it's okay. Like, it feels a little compact. I think if you're a really big person, this might feel a little bit cramped for standing, but it depends on your riding position and sort of how you like to stand on your bike. Sitting down, it feels awesome for me though. You know, I'm 5'10" or 1.78 meter. A little bit of a techie section here. A few rocks. Suspension feels good in the rocks. All right, Honda brought the outgoing bike, the CRF250F, for comparison. So I'm going to rip a loop on, I've already started a little bit to get the hang of it, but I'm going to do a loop on this and we'll talk about some of the differences. I mean, you can see obviously the styling is quite a bit different. So the main changes that you're going to notice is the increased torque and just a little bit better power in the low to mid range of the bigger engine on the 300. And the suspension, I'm already noticing the suspension feels a lot more like bouncy and kind of loose on this. It just doesn't have the more refined, controlled feeling of the 300. So it's an evolutionary change, not revolutionary, right? So we're talking about evolution, not revolution. And I think if you have a 250, pretty new one, you're not going to run out to get the 300 because it's so much better or anything like that. It's just, it's a nice evolution. So let's ride and talk a little bit. Okay, so what you notice right into 250, it sounds a little different. That's one thing. The engine, you feel like you're revving more and you kind of run out of power sooner. The gearbox is not as good on this. Like having the one less gear, you feel like you're kind of sometimes not in the right gear. You don't have as many ratios to work with. So transmission, engine, there's a big difference in the engine performance. Not earth-shattering, but enough that you feel like you're just having more torque and more low-end response, and you can lug better on the 300 because it's a bigger engine. It's more refined overall. The suspension is, again, not a dramatic improvement, but a noticeable improvement. The 300 is more controlled, has better spring rates, better damping. This bike feels a little bit moving around too much, a little bit undersprung, a little bit underdamped, I guess. So, again, not a crazy difference, but if you're getting close to spending new bike money on some of the used bikes out there, you should really look at the new 300 for all the, you know, the improvements that they've done. The main competitors to Honda's CRF300F really come down to just two different bikes. You've got the Yamaha TTR 230 and the Kawasaki KLX 230R. Now, if you want a larger, torquier engine, the Honda really is your only choice in this narrow category. If you want something a little bit with smaller engine, more old school with an carbureted engine and a rear disc brake, but also a little bit lighter, you could look at the Yamaha TTR 230, although it is getting to be quite a dated design, although it is a proven performer. The more modern competitor to the CRF 300F that's set up for a little bit more aggressive riding than the Honda with a little bit longer travel, stiffer suspension, is the Kawasaki KLX 230R. So you get a little bit more suspension travel, a little bit taller seat. You also get less weight by about 20 pounds or about 8 or 9 kilograms less weight. Pricing between these three bikes are all pretty similar, coming in between $4,700 to $5,000 US. So it really just depends what you're looking for. But in this category, you don't have a lot of choices as of 2026. You may wonder, why not just buy a dual sport motorcycle? Now, to be totally honest, if it was me, that's what I would do. I would pick up something like Honda's own CRF300L, Kawasaki's great dual sports with their KLX 230S and their KLX 300, Yamaha XT250 and others. You have a lot of good dual sport choices, and the great thing about a dual sport bike with an actual license plate and turn signals is you can ride it on the highway, neighborhood streets, you can commute to work, and you can ride anywhere in the United States that a vehicle can legally be taken and not be restricted to off-highway vehicle areas. But in the end, you are getting a lighter weight, more simplistic bike with something like the CRF 300F. And if you only ride in areas that are appropriate for these off-road style bikes and you don't need a license plate because you're only riding in those areas, then it may make sense to save some money and save some weight and complexity and just stick with an air-cooled trail bike like the CRF. All right. Well, I hope you've learned everything that you wanted to know about the new CRF 300F. If you want, you can check out Honda's website for all the technical information and availability and stuff like that. But this bike is available in dealerships now. So if there's anything I didn't cover in this review that you have questions about, put that down below in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. I've really generally enjoyed my time out here. It's so wonderful to be able to ride on private property without the pressure of traffic and things like that, and just be on a bike that makes me feel like a kid again and brings me back to my youth of riding air-cooled trail bikes around some fun trails in the middle of the foothills and the mountains. So I thank you so much for Honda for inviting me out here. Thank you so much for watching. Ride safe, and I will see you out there.